Hello to my Scorpios and my Scorpio risings. I am recording you a little horoscope to help deal with the changes that are about to take place due to the solar eclipse happening in Taurus. Now, normally we'd be talking about our manifestation processes and what we could focus on and what we could bring to light on the new moon. But a solar eclipse is time to put tools down and to allow the changes that are occurring around us to take place in order to set us forth on a redirected path. Now, it can sometimes be quite confronting around this time of the year. Maybe as you look back into the past, you might notice, if you backtrack and have a look at what was happening in eclipse season in the years prior and what was moving and shifting in your reality. Now, the Taurian eclipse activates your 7th house, which is the house of your most intimate relationships. It's the house where we learn how to co-create with other people and be vulnerable and share intimate relationship. It's your very important people, the people that you hold dearest and nearest to you. And that could be in a romantic sense, that could be in potentially a business sense. And this is the part of your life as a Scorpio soul where you're going to feel the effects of this solar eclipse. Now, consider this first one as the catalyst for this change. And it's stuff that will be toing and froing over the next bit of time. The axis for eclipses is set at Taurus and Scorpio until next year. So every time that there's an eclipse, it will be happening in Taurus or in Scorpio. Now, in 2 weeks, we're going to be experiencing a near full lunar eclipse in your first house of self and soul. So there's big stuff to consider around this time for you, Scorp. And potentially there's ways that you operate in relationship that are being brought to the forefront to analyze and maybe to shift. You might be experiencing a sense of fear that if you are your truest self in relationship, or you do act from the truest expression of your soul, there might be a fear that you'll be kicked out of the group if you do so. There might be a fear that you will lose everything that you have. I don't know if sometimes there is a propensity for a Scorpio soul to invest a lot of depth in their most intimate relationships. There's a lot of weight that they bear in terms of the Scorpio's happiness. And when things don't work out, or when changes occur, like an eclipse can bring around, there is a destabilization of the self. There could be a sense of lack. There could be a sense of feeling destitute, feeling locked out, feeling that you don't have anything without these relationships, that you kind of are trying to achieve grounding by those that you are intimate with. And that's absolutely understandable and written in your chart. Taurus rules your 7th house. You find purpose and grounding and stability and sensuality and comfort and relaxation in the company of your nearest and dearest. You're probably, out of all of the signs in the zodiac, the one to really invest more, even so than Librans, which is interesting. But as far as the emotional investment, it's second to none for a Scorpio to really dive deep and to be really upset and to be really affected by changes that happen in these relationships. Now, I say all of this because the tarot card that correlates with 10 degrees in Taurus is the Five of Pentacles. And that card talks about everything that I've just described. It talks about being cast out, being left out in the cold, being rejected from the group. It talks about abandonment. And so I bring it up because I want you to recognize any of those feelings that might crop up in you, any of your fears of abandonment, or any of your worry that you are going to be left to your own defenses should these changes occur in your intimate relationships. Acknowledge those feelings. Understand that it's written in the tarot and it's written in the zodiac. But also, the very next card is the Six of Pentacles, which is almost the opposite energy to the Five. The Six of Pentacles talks about material success and gift giving and abundance and charity and sharing, which is what Scorpios do best in relationship. And right now, the planet Uranus is hovering right where the Six of Pentacles would be on the zodiac at 14 degrees in Taurus. There's a disparity in energy around this eclipse. There could be triggers that come up for you, but remember that there is a counterweight to those fears. Whatever changes that need to occur in your intimate partnerships will happen in due course, and keep a handle on your sense of self through this, because your first house will be triggered by this eclipse. It will be affected in some way. Your sense of purpose, your sense of self might be jarred. It might be jolted out of place, and you might experience a bit of discomfort. But in tandem with this challenging energy that the eclipse is bringing up, I want to remind you that there is some absolutely beautiful energy floating around in Pisces at the moment, which activates your fifth house. So if we think about the inner child, if we think about our heart-led action, if we think about our creativity space, if we think about our romance space, as far as dating and the happiness and cuteness that comes from a heart flutter, from a coupling, if we think about the pleasure zone, if we think about the space in life where we really just let our intuition guide us. And as a Scorpio, a water sign, it's natural and beautiful. Pisces, another water sign, is the one that rules your fifth house of all of the elements of life, where we can set down some of our wounds, where we can set down some of our aggravating thought forms that can somehow get in the way of our happiness or get in the way of our progress. So in Pisces, Jupiter is holding hands with Venus, and we all know the rock song. We all know what Venus represents in the collective psyche. We all know the archetype of Venus. She's the goddess of beauty and love and art and sensuality and pleasure. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion and magnification. So for Jupiter to be holding hands with Venus right now is just letting that blissful energy flow through and allowing our inner child to have a little say-so. So amidst the potential upheaval in your intimate relationships, amidst all of that change, really recognize that there is also some of this bounty being offered for you in that creative, heart-led space. Maybe it's a chance to reach out to those that you co-create within that world, and that could be, going on some beautiful, cute dates. That could be making something, reaching out to collaborators and getting together and getting in the studio for no reason other than to create something. That could be, however you look at that, that could be writing yourself a letter to your 5-year-old self, telling them how proud of you they would be. Allow that beauty in amidst the difficulty of the eclipse. And know that astrology is not a life sentence. It's definitely not something that we are all doomed to suffer through. We use the planets and we listen to them, and we understand the guidance and the archetypes attached to each of those energies for a space of compassion and understanding, in the same way that we read the tarot for that reason. We read the tarot for an act of personal empathy, and to be able to meditate and zone in on our intuition, and to receive the messages from the cards as guidance rather than as doomed fate. I think I'll leave it there, Scorpio. I'll be back with you in 2 weeks to talk over the lunar eclipse that's happening in your first house. There'll be some great conversation that we can have in terms of restabilizing your sense of self and your soul purpose after the changes have been kicked off by this solar eclipse. And do let me know if you like this format, if you like to listen rather than to read. I'm This eclipse is happening in my third house, which talks about my communication styles. So I'm trying to shake things up a little bit preeminently before the eclipse happens, just to see if I can diversify some of the ways in which I translate information and pass it through to folks. So let me know if this is something that is working for you. I am going to do another recording for the Scorpio lunar eclipse, and then after that I might switch back to the written word, but we'll see. Everything's movable and changeable. Much love to you, Scorpio. All the very best for this eclipse. Take care, and remember that none of this is a sentence that we're doomed to. We have autonomy in this space. We have the opportunity to co-create and to work with the energetic fields that are coming up. All the very best, all of my love, and I'll speak to you in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.